Hello, Cam Vinsel here from Module 6 talking about proteins for this week. You can't really stress enough how proteins, how much they really mean to your body. And they maintain so many things, more than just muscles. They maintain, we're talking about fluid balance, and just really a lot of important structures in your body that proteins help regulate. And it's pretty common as North Americans for us to eat more protein than we really need, and that's something that we're seeing. It's becoming more common throughout our diets, and you know, it's proteins in everything. It's meat, eggs, milk, dairy products, cheese. It's um, it's we eat a lot of it. We really do. The first section I'd like to talk about is amino acids and how they work with proteins and the importance of proteins. The amino acids are really the building blocks of proteins, and they have a central carbon atom. There's about 20 main amino acids, and there's also 9 of those that are considered essential, and those are ones that you can only your body can only obtain from eating food, and they cannot be man-made or replicated. And that's something with diets that we have to look at with eating protein is, are we making sure we're getting all of these amino acids? It's tough, really. There's animal proteins, there's plant proteins, and some animal proteins have some amino acids that plants don't. And so it's all about trying to find a balance in between the two. Proteins excuse me, are crucial to the regulation and maintenance of the body. It's you get a lot of your strength. I mean, carbs are used for energy, and it's not really from an energy standpoint, but a lot of your strength. We think of muscles, and just keeping your body going is really what proteins are about. Organization, that's really key in a protein. It starts with DNA, and mRNA is created, and those two form together. They go to the nucleus, the ribosomes, and they become proteins. But the amino acids form a chain linked to these proteins, and that's what really determines the shape and the different. There's so many types of different proteins. But these amino acid chains and how they're linked together is what determines the shape and size of the amino acids. And it's a three-dimensional thing that it creates. It's a chain, and the order of these can determine what the protein is. And sickle cell disease, which there's diseases that can come from if your amino acids aren't lined up correctly. And that's a big part of, if these amino acids don't line up right, you can't even use the protein sometimes. That's a big thing, sickle cell disease. I'd like to talk about also the proteins in foods. And, food is such a huge topic in our society, and food is every day. And it's important to know really what, where protein is and what foods it's found in. And the probably the most 5 popular are meats, eggs, fish, nuts, beans. It's, those are the 5. Excuse me. About 70% of the protein we eat comes from the animal sources, though I know I touched on earlier animal sources and plant sources, and about 70% comes from animal. And we've started to really see a decline, though, in America with the animal intake, and that's just, I think, a culture thing with everything shifting one way, and maybe not so harsh towards animals. That doesn't mean a protein decrease is coming, just kind of the animal absorption proteins is kind of seeing a decrease in America. But with meat, dairy products, milk, from a worldwide standpoint, it's increasing so much rapidly, and we'll expect to see another increase too. The amino acids, the essential ones, animal has an abundance of them. They have every one we need, and plus some. And so that's a strong case for them. And sometimes the plant sources, you miss out on a few of those essential amino acids. So it's a process of finding a balance between the two and trying to figure out which that you really need. And the high quality proteins or the complete, those are from animal sources, and plant sources have what we call incomplete or low quality proteins, and that leads to complementary proteins and so on. Protein digestion and absorption into your body. It really starts with pepsin. It's an enzyme located in your stomach with your stomach acid, and together those will work together to break down your food and the protein as it enters into your stomach. And there's a whole list of steps that it goes through. Other enzymes are released once it gets to the small intestines. The pancreas gets involved. They break down food. It goes to the small intestines, and eventually amino acids are prescribed into it, and it slowly diffuses into your bloodstream for us to use and carry out to the rest of our body. The last section I'd like to talk about is putting proteins into work in our bodies. And I feel like this is the most relevant section for a lot of us. Is when we think about protein, we think of lifting out, and we think of working out and lifting, and we think of actually putting the protein into use and gaining strength and protein and working out. And so, there's more ways than just working out protein's involved, but it's such an important to the muscles. I know. Life of a college student, I'm sorry. Protein turnover is a process of breaking down old protein cells and resynthesizing them and turning them into new in our body to use. And it just strengthens our tissues, veins. It's protein. It's everything about our muscles and our strength as a whole. It's greatly influenced by proteins. And there's a whole list of things they do. Proteins maintain bodily fluids. They acid-base balance. They help with, form enzymes, contribute to the immune system, produce body components, muscle fibers, connective tissue, and they provide energy too. They form glucose. The list goes on of the importance of proteins, and it really is felt. And that's about all for Chapter 6 and Module 6. Thanks for listening.